Alright, today you guys, we're going to be reviewing Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. This game initially launched in 2010. It was created by Creation Games and published by Electronic Arts. It originally came out on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii, Microsoft Xbox 360, iOS, Android, WebOS, Windows Phone, Wii. It had a lot of options. They did a lot with this game. And so far as I could tell, it's made to kind of be a reboot for the series, at least at the time. And from what I could tell from playing the game, it feels like a pretty decent game. So let's check it out. Let's get into it and see how it goes. Now, the first thing I've noticed, the online features are still active for this game. I don't know if anyone's playing it. I haven't tried to play it online yet, but I believe that you still can probably play this game online if you wish. So let's get into some of the settings here and kind of see what some of the settings and options are for this game. You have your audio settings, which are basic, standard audio settings. You have your music, your speech, your SFX volume, music order, speaker setup, high quality filters. I usually like to have my music right around 40%. You have account management, which is just your online profile and your account and how you want things to appear. Profile picture. If you have a webcam, then you can take a picture of yourself and have it on there. Cool things like that. So that's one of those are some of the features in the game. You have Need for Speed News, which just pretty much tells you about upcoming events in the game, or other games that are coming out that are related to the franchise. You have auto log recommends, which it's just kind of pretty self-explanatory. It's friend status and things like that. It's one of those gimmicks, man. It's just honestly, a lot of these things are just gimmicks, man. They're just things to help add to the gaming experience, in my opinion. You have Hot Pursuit Online, like I was talking about earlier. There's probably not a lot of people playing this game because this game is pretty old. It came out in 2010. We're going on 2021, so this game's got some age on it. You have your wall. You have which got things like comments on it and things like that. It's got a little voiceover that'll explain.
You and your friends. If you see an event message, you can play it straight from the wall.
Yeah, things like that. Just like a little social media aspect to it. Nothing special. You have your photos.
You can take quick
Again,
snapshots
pretty
at any time in the
self-explanatory.
game, or use photo mode to take full, high-definition photos of
See?
the exotic cars you're driving through Seacrest County. These shots are stored in photos.
I did have some problems getting it to log on earlier.
From here, you can add comments and share them on your wall for all
I think that's because the service sometimes can be a bit wonky. But that's to be expected. It is an older game. And I've also got to be careful to not accidentally exit out of the game because I'm not used to using this game with a controller, or I'm not used to playing games with a controller of this type. Usually I'll use like my steering wheel and pedals. Just got one of those recently, so that's been a thing. And then, of course, you have your career, which is the meat and potatoes of the whole situation. And you have a full-on 3D map here, which will pretty much show you all your races and everything, just like in any other racing game of this era or even of last era. You got your, police chases, you got your standard races and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and do let's do a police takedown. Let's do that. This game does have decent graphics. It does have decent sound quality. It's nothing, it's nothing to sneeze at, especially for the time.
If the suspect drives over the strip, they will be damaged and temporarily immobilized. Use the moment well.
There's not much I can do about these demonstrations. They're non-skippable, so they are going to play regardless. So when these happen, I just generally like to let it sit. Another great thing about the Need for Speed series that I've always admired is you have great specifications on the vehicles, such as top speed, you know, 0 to 60 times, year, price, weight of vehicle, all those great things. You know, name, make, model, you know. So we're going to go ahead and choose this vehicle here. It does give you a decent description here in writing as well
Power,
as
passion,
a photo mode.
performance. The Z
It is
story
also voiced
continues.
over, as you
New
can hear.
tech
They
hit
will
old
tell you
school.
about it. They
A
will
new
actually pretty
shorter,
much
sharper
read off what's
design. Batched
down
ahead of
there
the
in the
front doors with the
description,
famous glowing Z signature that
which is
Doubler's light
also
indicates.
fantastic. You know, the load times aren't too bad. Specification requirements for this game aren't too high. I mean, I'm currently running an RX 580 with 8 gigs of DDR5
Officers in
and a
pursuit of a blue Subaru on South
4690K
Base Drive.
with a 4690K overclocked to 4.5 gigahertz, 16 gigs of RAM, clocked at 1600 megahertz. So that's been my setup for the last about year or so, and it runs things pretty well. I mean, you can pretty much get a lock 60 if you max it out at 1080p. If you want to run it at 4K, you can, probably quite easily. Honestly, I probably could if I just maybe lowered some settings and things like that. You know, there is some stutter here and there from time to time, and I think that's just generally because it's a bit of an older game, and some of the online features just are it's just a little bit wonky on my rig. I don't know, it might be my rig or what have you, but all in all, it runs great. 99% of the time it runs just like it should. Pretty much at a locked 60 FPS or more. I just have it synced. I have V-synced on. I have it capped at, you know, have it capped at 60. Another thing with this game, you want to make sure you go ahead and turn on V-sync, because if you don't, you will possibly get screen tearing, and that is not pleasant. The sense of speed in this game is fantastic. The sense of control of the vehicles in this game is, I don't want to be mean, but it feels heavy and unresponsive a lot of the times. For being an arcade racer, it feels heavy and, you know, a bit clunky at times. It feels like you're trying to make a brick go around a corner sometimes, especially when you're trying to drift the vehicles. Like, look at that. Like, I can't, like, I'm you know, full lock, and, you know, nothing happens, and I'm smacking into walls and all that. Like, that's not how I generally, when I play my racing games, I generally don't smack into walls. It doesn't happen. It's even full on Sims. See? Full lock, and I'm into a barrier. But, you know, it does have a pretty decent damage model. It does have pretty decent graphics. Even by today's standards, I would say this game holds up pretty well. You know, it has decent effects. You know, it has a little motion blur going on. It has, you know, little weather effects going on. Man, this guy is actually just really good, honestly. I think I'm just kind of sucking on this one. You'd have different options when you're playing as a police officer. You have things like, you know, block and things like spike strips and cool things like that. I'm gonna go ahead and use one of those right now on him. See if I can get this guy. But, you know, it's not a bad game. You know, it's just one of those situations where it's just, for an arcade racer, it could have been a lot better. But not a bad game, though. By any means, not a bad game. It's just, sometimes it feels a little bit of its time, I'll say. But, you know, there are some pretty cool damage models and stuff like that. Like, see, this guy thinks he's slick. He thinks he's gonna get away from me. He's not. But that's okay. You know, we'll get him. But the main thing with this game, the main takeaway I want to have you guys take away from this review about this game is that this is an old game. Okay, this game is pretty much, you're gonna get what you pay for. You know, the game's over 10 years old, you know, because we're going into 2021 now, man. But I will say one thing about it. It is I won't say it's a proper return to the series or anything like that, but I will say it's a fun return. I'll say that much. It's fun. I'm telling you, I'm having a hard time getting this guy. But, nonetheless, I'd say something you should pick up. No, we're gonna take this guy down. Then we'll go ahead and wrap the review up, and I'll kind of give you some final thoughts on it. And honestly, you can run this game on just about any hardware you have. Honestly, you could probably run it on, I don't know, probably I'd say nothing less than a quad-core processor, maybe a dual-core, like a Core 2 Dual, maybe something from like around that era, 2010 or so, because that is when the game came out, so that would make sense. But this, like right here, this is what I'm talking about again with these heavier physics in the game. It makes it hard to drift, especially in the rain, because the car it wants to do its own thing. It wants to behave in its own manner. It wants to almost it's almost like trying to control a shopping cart full of bricks. I mean, I know that sounds harsh, but that's how the cars feel sometimes in this game. And just for that reason alone, I can't give it like a super high rating or anything. I don't want to give it a super low one either. It's still going to be a good review. It's just, it's not going to be, because, oh my goodness, like, just, man, like every time I try and go around a corner, I feel like I'm gonna freaking pull a muscle or something. It's ridiculous. Look, I'm hitting cars. I can't stay off the wall. Man, not cool, man. But it's just a game. At the end of the day, that's how I see it. I will say the AI is pretty intelligent. I'll give him that. Like, he's taking shortcuts. He's using strategies. He's thinking ahead a bit. I got him. He's done. That was a bit of luck, though. If he would have gotten ahead of me, I would probably done another 10 minutes. So, I'll give him that. Damage modeling on the vehicles is decent. The physics on the vehicles are decent when they crash out and things like that. So, all in all, a little run, having a little fun with the game. But I'm going to have to say one thing, man. This is one of those games, man, where, it's not for everybody. I'm going to say that. Like, if I had to give it a rating, it's honestly probably barely even going to make a 7 out of 10 after that experience right now. But, however, I will bring it up one point. It does have controller support on PC via Bluetooth or wired. It supports multiple controllers, of course. I don't know about PS4. PS4 is a bit iffy on PC, but, it does support multiple computer controllers and peripherals and things like that, such as steering wheels and pedals and things like that. Keyboard and mouse, of course. So, I'll give it that. Graphics look good. Draw distances are good. Frame rates are good. It's pretty well optimized. So, you know what? I will say it's a solid 7 out of 10. I can't give it less than a 7 out of 10. It's not a bad game. I'm probably just not that great at the game, honestly. So, I'd say it's probably a solid 7 out of 10. I'm not gonna knock it, just because I don't like the physics. It's just, I'll just say it's not for everybody. But it is a good game. It's just not for everybody. I'd say it's a solid 7 out of 10. I'd say, go ahead and pick it up. It's pretty cheap. You can get it pretty much anywhere. I mean, I picked it up on Steam for probably about $10, about 6 months ago. So I'd say go ahead and check it out. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up and say, keep watching and like, subscribe, ring that bell. And you guys have nice